month, what a year to celebrate in and living in the greatest country in the world as our 248th birthday approaches on July 4th. What a great country.
Absolutely. A lot has been going on, a lot of updates as well, and we're going to get into all this fantastic news that we have for you. What do you want to tackle first?
I want to talk about how people take this country for granted and what the word patriot means, to where you're living in the freest, safest, most prosperous country in the world, and certain people are out doing whatever it is they do to bark and have the freedom to do the things they like to do. But when you're burning flags, ask yourself why it is you choose to burn that flag. Because if you were in any other country in the world and you were committing the crimes you're committing, whether you're gay, lesbian, burning flags, throwing rocks at police, they throw you off of buildings and they kill you. So appreciate the greatest and safest country and honor the people out there who are in blue protecting you to allow you to act like an idiot.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. That what is a patriot? What's a patriot to you, JB?
Essentially someone who uses their wisdom and goes with their gut and moves things forward, shows great leadership, even when people disagree with them, moving forward. I think you kind of really do see this embodiment with Donald Trump, especially when he went down the golden escalator, June 16, 2015, originally when he ran the first time. And you're kind of seeing it now, treading new waters, so to speak. And, going across the Delaware again, if you really want to go there. You're seeing a lot of things done that we've never would think we'd ever see in our lifetime happening now. I mean, this is probably the greatest time to be alive.
Gonzo, what about you?
I think a patriot is someone that is proud of their country and shows their pride in what they do or how they act. But at the end of the day, it comes down to being proud of who you are and where you live, and acknowledging too that it's not always perfect, especially when it comes to elected officials. We know that they're not always perfect,
yes,
or ever, I would say. But just no matter the good times and the bad times, you're still proud of where you came from. You're still proud of who you are and who you are as a nation.
I like both of those answers very well. But to me, the definition of a patriot is someone who loves the country. You don't have to be, this isn't necessarily just about America. You can be a patriot for the country that you live in or wherever you be. But I'm speaking to what we have coming up July 4th, celebrating our birthday and the 248 years of heartache, the misery, the pain, and the suffering for us to get to where we are today to celebrate the most glorious time in our life. We haven't been in this position in a long, long time. And I know there's so many people who disagree with it. But ask yourself, why is it you disagree with it? Do you not like having more money in your pocket? Do you not like having gas at one of the lowest points it's been in almost a decade since Trump was there the last time? Sure. There's so many things that, to me, America should be safe. America should be prosperous. And I want America to be the most dominating country in the world. Fear no man, fear no evil, dance with the devil, and walk with the angels and live forever. That's how I want America to be.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And I think that it is a perfect time to remember this as 4th of July weekend comes up. It is a time of celebration for a lot of people, but we do have to remember why we celebrate that day, fighting against tyranny and becoming a nation ourselves. And like you said, too, remembering the good and the bad and making sure that regardless of what we do, we move into the future to create a better country than where we came from.
Yeah, because if we forget the bad, history will repeat itself.
Yeah. And 250 years is really not old as a country compared to a lot of the greats that are out there.
The experiment is still young.
So, I mean, we have a lot of learning to do as a nation. I do think we are the greatest nation on earth, but as always, we should be looking forward to the future and creating a nation that is better for everyone.
I know so many people are hung up right now on immigration. Well, how we got to become what we are today is we ultimately fought Britain to create the 13 colonies, and we chose to do this. We didn't break into another country per se. We stood up and created our own country. And in doing that, you look, like you said, JB, I don't think young people today know the history of why, how we are what we are today. People are just copacetic with, hey man, I live in America, so let me go out and fuck shit up. Nobody cares.
No.
Well, people do care. If you take pride in, dude, where you live, it says a lot about you and the character that you have. So frequently right now, the poorest people in the United States of America have a better life than the poorest people of anywhere else in the world. And that's taken for granted. We don't have wars in our country. We have internal battles because people want to create chaos and divide us, the American citizen. And that's too much time and energy is spent on that. And I think the experiment, take your word, Jay, has happened out west. You see what happens when you give in to the anarchy. It does not work. It does not benefit the cities. The cities lose money. People move out of the city. So when you see or hear, I'm going to give you something for free, you better put your hand over your ass because you're getting ready to take one.
And we've heard some of this talk recently coming out of New York, actually. Free stuff. Free groceries, free this, free buses, maybe. And like you said, nothing is free. So when you hear that, you do have to question it. Who is paying for it? Because someone has to pay for it.
Well, the thing about it is, the people who would have to pay for it are going to be intelligent enough to leave that environment because they're not going to subject their life and their livelihood to the chaos and the anarchy that will pursue if that happens. When you talk about defunding the police, they just did this under de Blasio. It was miserable. People were getting pushed onto the subway. So Eric Adams, right, wrong, or indifferent, he's a mayor, and he's standing up trying to fight crime that he can with what he's doing. So to go backward, you would literally take the biggest and greatest city in the United States and just turn it into Gotham.
Mm-hmm.
And there is no Batman or Superman who's going to come save it.
And if there was a Batman or Superman, the government would try to take them down anyway, so.
So when we talk about free, okay, you have grocery stores that are run by the city. Well, they're not going to have the food in there. They're not going to have the things you need. Look at every entity that is run by a municipality, a state, or the federal government, and look how they struggle to manage taking care of any and everything. The country succeeds when businesses by individuals are out thriving.
Yeah, 100%. I think that, and I've said this before, we've tried the socialism and the communist thing before. How often have we seen it actually work?
It hasn't. It hasn't worked in the communist country.
No.
You can look at Russia, look at Venezuela. And again, just take California. Take the wildfires, for example. It was a tremendous crisis that people lost everything. I don't even think they built 50 houses back since this has happened.
No.
So imagine, I don't know when you guys have been to the city at the last time. It's a busy place. So imagine no police at the intersections. Imagine everybody getting on the bus for free. Everybody walking on the subway for free. It will become a graffiti-ridden city no one will want to live in.
Yeah, at the end of the day, the biggest issue is if you don't have a police force, then everything else just goes to crap. Because when people with bad intentions go to the city and they know that they're soft on crime, that's basically an invitation for them to do whatever they want. Like you said, you start seeing graffiti, people getting robbed in the street, people getting killed even, unfortunately. And in these big cities like New York City or maybe LA, we're seeing more of this because they're soft on crime, they have bad leadership, and personally, I think it's no accident that this happens. These people aren't complete idiots. I think they do know to an extent what they are doing, which makes me more upset that the elites want this to happen. They want these parts of America and maybe even the rest of the country to kind of go to shit.
This goes back to what we talked about previously. You can take New York City, LA, 7 or 8 of the greatest metropolitan cities in the country, and you have more population than the rest of the country. So if for some ungodly reason that the electoral college ever went by the wayside, this country would be, as JB said, experiment would be dynamite imploded.
Yeah, mad scientist with the puffy hair, blackface because he got burned.
So that's not the avenue. And I'm not sure. I know that is it Gen Z, Gen X? Which generation is the one who wants everything for free?
Right now, I feel like it's everyone, but Gen Z is definitely
Democrats.
Gen Z, maybe millennials too.
Well, speaking of, you brought up Democrats. So we'll take the Democrat scenario based off of the word free. And you look at the historical establishment who have been given free things, from SNAP, green stamps, to assistance with rent, to where they're finally trying to put some accountability. If you're an 18-year-old man and you don't have a job, should you be entitled to welfare? Should you be entitled to any monetary value? So they're trying to establish, see, he agrees with me.
Exactly, yeah.
But the requirement should be to not have the system being taken advantage of. And that's what's so disheartening, that no one can even agree to that. You mentioned politicians earlier. They're not perfect, but they're common sense. There has to be a lane. I live my life 11 to 1. These bastards are like the cuckoo clock, just woo, 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 cuckoo, cuckoo. It's crazy.
Well, that's at the end of the day, when you actually don't stand for something, that's what you see happen. You see these people going from one side to another or just around in circles. These politicians are all bought and paid for by special interests that don't have our interests. And it's so disheartening to see politicians flip-flop, get caught in lies all the time, And that's where we're in the position today where a majority of the country does not trust the media. They don't trust the politicians. So that way, when, this guy is running for mayor in New York, there's so much distrust. Even if he says all the right things, the people that are voting for him, a lot of them still don't even trust him completely. We don't have trust in our institutions anymore. And that's really at the fault of the politicians and the media and everything else.
Well, with all the police officers, ladies, men moving to Florida, I would like to invite them to go to the Vineyard in Lake Mary, Florida, and experience one of the greatest dinners or lunches that's in the greater Orlando area. You will be well taken care of. You go in there, just, that get a good cocktail, and I can talk forever about whatever you want to eat. It's phenomenal.
Get the meatloaf. I recommend the meatloaf highly. And
you can get a meatloaf sandwich. They've got I miss it. I'm ready to. I wish I could eat there right now.
I was just there a few days ago. I had a filet mignon. It was amazing.
Out of all the steakhouses and places you can get a steak in the greater Orlando area, it's hard to believe that restaurant has the best bone-in ribeye that you can possibly get, and it's being cooked by a gentleman named Gene who puts love and heart in every bit of the fire resonating through the bottom of that steak.
And we always like to pair our dinner with Branch and Barrel bourbon, actually. I don't know if you knew this, but it is my favorite bourbon. I actually you can tell I've been going through it a little too fast. But
yeah, early breakfast shot.
The Flagship is probably my personal favorite. The Wheated Bourbon is like right there. I mean, I can't, sometimes I can't even tell which one's my favorite, but Branch and Barrel, you got to check them out. It's a great company, and I'm looking forward to see the expansion happen.
Yep, it's going to be a good time, and that's why we talk so positively about the area that we live in, and then you see people who are miserable in other parts of the, and I really feel sorry for them because they could have what we have, whether it's in North Carolina, whether it's in Florida. If you have people who care about your neighborhood and that yards are clean, the houses, it's just, you can tell who cares. I'll refer back to the scenario. If you see flags and you see flowers in a town or a city, you're in a good spot.
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure.
So,
when you say flag,
local people could understand that. This guy, number one, he hates Jews right off the bat, but then he lies about hating Jews. So how can you persecute? Beyond me. The devil can sell a lot of bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So pay attention. Don't believe everything you hear, especially from communists.
Well, when I see him, I just think of what's happened in England, London, all the big cities.
If I didn't have a problem with the cold, and I don't like the world of concrete, maybe I should move to New York and run for mayor, Jay.
Oh, man, I don't know. I don't even know.
I would be pro-blue.
I mean, can Robb Crocker fix New York, or is it too far gone?
I mean,
I like the Yankees.
There's a lot of things.
Other than that, that's about it. I'm going to come out to Florida.
Yeah, exactly.
But it just takes somebody to care. You can't, like Como running. He got kicked out as governor from being a damn pervert. So, no, he's not the answer. There has to be some young, energetic person in the city. Maybe Barron Trump.
Maybe.
What?
Maybe he's going to align himself with running for mayor of New York City. That would be crazy.
Isn't he a citizen of Florida, though?
Yeah, he can always go back.
He goes to school in New York, so he's got some. I think he's who knows? But there we go. Broke it here.
Honestly, I was just shocked that Cuomo had such a lead in the beginning, despite everything that happened. It's like, do we ever learn?
Not we.
No, the Democrats never learn, Gonzo. They will walk across fire and get burnt and burnt. But the one thing about it is the police officers who decide to move from New York City to Florida, there are jobs in Boca Raton, Florida. The starting salary as a police officer is $80,000.
Hmm.
When I was doing, JB can check me, when I was looking at the length of time for a police officer in New York City to make that amount of money, they've been there quite a while.
Yeah.
It's
And
also
the cost of living, the taxes,
yeah.
quality of life. Who wants to be miserable?
Not me.
No.
Well, guess who does? Libtards. They absolutely love misery. I don't understand why they can't be happy. Why they can't appreciate what they have in the greatest country in the world.
I think it's more or less to be born into such a great country they never had without and never earned anything, so everything's been given to them. So now it makes them entitled. Then on top of that, they have an echo chamber of everyone else around them. So really, it's just not a logical situation. They have to wake up somehow.
So it goes back to participation trophies.
Mm.
Always use a good participation trophy.
It goes back to where everybody's given something just for showing up, which I think is the biggest crock of shit ever.
Crocker shit?
Takes away from effort. It takes away from you wanting to achieve more.
Mm.
Everybody's okay with being mediocrity.
Yeah. Well, I think, too, I mean, you look back at when a lot of immigrants were first coming to this country, these people were coming from situations where they were not well off. They came here with no money, but they came here and they worked and made a better life for themselves and for their families. And a lot of them succeeded beyond what they were ever capable of doing in the place where they came from. But like JB said, now you have a bunch of people that are born into this great country, which is awesome. You're born here, you have all the opportunities in the world, but when you take advantage of it, or when you're not grateful for the opportunity, you take advantage of the system. And like you said, you're okay with living in mediocrity because you were born with pretty much everything you needed. You don't have to strive for greatness. And then a lot of people go backwards and they start acting crazy and they think they're entitled to everything.
Yeah.
Well, look at what you boys just did for Crocker. You talked about people coming to this country. So you're taking me right to where I want to go. When they came here, they went to Ellis Island. They registered that they were here. So they started the process of getting documented, which is what I've been preaching, screaming from the rooftop. How do we fix the immigration problem that we have now with all of the illegals that are here? Can we create a new Ellis Island to allow this to happen for the good people? If you go there and you're a criminal, I'm sorry, you're going to go to Alligator Alcatraz. But if you do not have any crime and you've been an upstanding citizen, paying taxes, however you want to look at the scenario, I know Jake getting ready to get on my ass about the tax situation. But figure out a modern day Ellis Island for the illegal immigrants that are here that have been contributing to society. Let's figure out a way to implement that in to the 2025 Ellis Island program.
Not a terrible idea. I think that...
Imagine that.
I think that at the end of the day, everyone has an opportunity to come here, as long as you're not a criminal and you don't come from an area that's been blacklisted. But absolutely, we want good people here. We want people that are going to help make this country greater. And I don't have an issue with people coming here the right way, like you said, going to the port of entry and saying, hey, I'm here, here's why, let me do something to better my family and to better this country.
But the people that are already here there should be an Ellis Island in every state, or maybe 2 locations because some states are larger than the other. And they have to take on the responsibility of themselves, knowing if they do not do this, they will get deported if they get caught.
Precisely. And I think that's why it goes back to the pendulum. We've been taking advantage of so much with the previous administration, allowing millions and millions of people to come through unchecked. The pendulum is now swinging back and saying, listen, if we don't know who you are, we got to get you out of here. You know, maybe in the future you can come back, but at the end of the day, there's too many people here we don't know. We don't know their capabilities. We've seen attacks from certain people, not just citizens, but people that have come here illegally. So it's the whole pendulum thing. Unfortunately, this administration has been almost forced to go to the extreme and just kick everyone out.
Well, see, I'm not sure how many people are familiar with the new alligator Alcatraz. They managed to build that in 80 days, and the state of Florida anticipates having 3,000 to 5,000 people there for minimum week, maximum 2 to 3 weeks. They're going to get processed, flown back to their country. So unless we can come up with a solution, 5,000 times 4 is 20,000 times. There'll be 500,000 people deported just from Florida within the next 6 to 8 months. And I don't believe that all those people are criminals, other than, as JB says, they broke the law because they entered the country illegally.
Right. No, I mean,
yeah, they committed a crime, JB.
No, but I agree with what you're saying. I mean, they're not all bad people. I would say I would hope that most of them aren't bad people, but you have a few of them, you know, percentage-wise that are, and it's just unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, I know people who have broken the law that aren't bad people.
I look at it's not a parking ticket.
Yeah.
It's not a speeding ticket, but it needs to be handled to where it's not a felony. It's not Sean Diddy Combs throwing a girl down there, kicking her in the head.
Speaking of, did you see that they were unable to reach a unanimous verdict on the racketeering charge?
I did see that, but when you read the RICO Act, that's a very hard thing to prove, so I'm not really sure why they put that in the equation. As far as a law, that is a very difficult thing to prove. I think that there was a lot of other statutes they could have gone with, but I'd say at the end of the day that he'll probably get 10 years and be out within 3 to 5.
Yeah. I mean, usually what we see is like the prosecution will come at you with like 3 to 5 different things, and one of them is going to be the most extreme that they can try and get you on. So that way the rest of them don't seem as unlikely to get. So, you know, like, yeah, in this case, they charged him with a bunch of different things, and the big one, racketeering, didn't stick. But yeah, like you said, I mean, he's going to prison, for sure.
The one thing that was the most disheartening to me this week as far as legal was the Idaho college kids that got murdered, to where somehow the prosecution made a deal with his attorney to where he took the death penalty off the table. And I just think that when you get a prosecutor so lenient, not thinking about family and the closure that they need, this guy's going to live the rest of his life in prison and take your money, JB's money, and my money, to where he killed people. He's proven guilty. Start killing people rapidly, crime will go down.
Yeah, again, it goes back to being soft on crime. And that's another thing, too. I mean, if the punishment is lessened in any situation, whether it's murder or whether it's the chaos that happens at the protests, if it's allowed to happen, unfortunately, bad, twisted people are going to continue to do it because they don't feel the fear of consequence.
I don't know if either one of you took an ass whipping from your dad when you were growing up.
A few times.
A lot.
But that moment has gone by the wayside. Children today, if you were to even threaten some type of punishment, they're going to call the police. The police would have been at my house every night when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But you learn by making mistakes. And as your father or mother corrects you, it helps develop the work ethic that you have today. And I'm very thankful that I did take an ass whipping here and there, because I understand the value of what it takes to be successful in society. I don't want anybody to give me anything. I want to go out and work for it in whatever capacity I have to. And I don't ever stop. When you work for yourself, you never stop. I don't get the ability to say, time out, I'm done at 5 o'clock. I think both of you seen that with me.
Yeah, I mean, we're working past 5 right now.
Someone said that, I think referring to the Diddy situation and everything else.
I have an agreement that says you're supposed to work after 5 right now.
Absolutely.
Okay. So
He's just saying
you are your own boss that gets to decide when you what's that old you get to decide when and where you want to work. If you don't show up, you don't have to worry about working again.
I think what JV's trying to say is that you're always right.
I thought we were
JV?
always right.
But no,
Cheers, my friend.
referring to the Diddy case and similar cases, unfortunately, as someone says, money and power can get you anything and anywhere, or get you out of anything.
One might be able to attest to that.
Well, look at Epstein. Did it or did it not?
I think he's somewhere.
Who knows? But too, in that situation,
Your boys at the FBI, Bongino and Cash, they were supposed to disclose all this information that we've yet to get. They both come out and said that he killed himself.
they basically came out and said, JB, Gonzo, we're not your boys anymore. Sorry to tell you.
I can't say it on the show, but I'm guessing we can get all guess where Jeff Epstein is actually at right now.
Mar-a-Lago?
God, I hope not.
No.
Alligator Alcatraz.
That's where he should be, but isn't.
But I think
So do
too,
you actually believe he's alive, JB?
Yeah.
I mean, too, even if he is dead, regardless of what happens, he was at the end of the day a tool used by the people that actually had the power.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, it's like, hey, you know, we got what we needed out of you, which is essentially dirt on all the other guys that we want to control. So he wasn't able to get out of that situation. Or did he? I don't know. We'll find out.
Oh, that's another one. Did he?
Well, it's amazing how out of sight, out of mind goes by the wayside, to where Joe Biden, voice of the past, the auto pen going away. I don't think anybody's mentioned Hunter Biden's name. So when you're not in the spotlight, you imagine to get away with whatever it may have been. And I just think it's unfortunate that that's where we are in society. There's so much hate and energy wasted on bitching and complaining about Trump and America. I genuinely don't necessarily agree with everything that President Trump says or does, but I genuinely agree that he loves the United States of America. Unequivocally. And he wants to do what he thinks is best for the country.
At the end of the day, I think that's what we want from all our politicians, is their best interests being our interests. What can you do to make this country or this state or wherever a better place? And unfortunately, we don't have a lot of that. We really don't.
It's a wet dream for sure.
Well, the problem with the wet dream is You got to wake up in the morning.
Reality
And
hits
the
you.
mattress is wet. So, when you say this, can government even happen if you have so many different opinions to where everyone has JB's wet dream, Gonzo, you have it, whatever you're dreaming, and I have a dream about catching fish. But when you go to vote on something, there has to come a nucleus to where someone can gravitate to. That's why I think it's bullshit that this bill that used to be called Big Beautiful Bill passed the Senate, and Chuck Schumer's petty ass went up at the end and used some code or number for the Senate that changed it. Now the Big Beautiful Bill is named the Act. That's the name.
Yeah.
The Act.
I think that
So goes back to what you just said, Gonzo. To have a politician represent you. When was the last time you read 1,000 pages of anything?
it depends on which version of the Bible I read, but yeah, I mean it's not common.
Did you sit down and read it continuously?
I mean, no, I mean it took me days for sure.
So how does anyone who is a congressman or senator or their staff have the energy and the time to read this bill within a 24, 36, 48-hour period?
I could do it with AI very simply, but they probably have tons of interns, just like they did.
Motherfucker, you got to scan it. AI just isn't going to miraculously.
You don't have to scan it with
I know
AI.
what the bill is.
You don't have to scan it with AI. You just take a picture of it. OCR reads that fast.
Yeah, but you're gonna take a picture of
Hold on,
like
hold on,
3,000 pages.
Explain that
You
to
can.
the AI. You take a picture of it.
Yep.
How do you take a picture of 1,000 motherfucking pages?
If you have 10 or 20 interns, it will take a few minutes.
All right, that's 100 pages.
Yeah.
Then you're asking which AI? Elon's AI? Which?
Well,
AI?
if the bill has something to do with Tesla stock or Tesla's capabilities of producing cars, we don't use Grok because it
Yeah.
would be biased.
Exactly.
So we'd have to use ChatGPT or something like that.
But all these bills are online anyways.
Yeah, but I, to your point, Crocker, they're not reading all these pages themselves. They don't know what's in it 100%.
No.
It's not possible.
Sorry,
So when I hear people get out and land blast how shitty the bill is or how great the bill is, the things that are the umbrella of all of it is what Trump ran on. No tax on tips.
Overtime.
All of the things that he ran on, if they're in the bill, it helps the common man. And then somehow you get discombobulated to where a hospital in rural somewhere isn't going to get money.
Mhm.
It's just, if you had the ability to live that bill like I live my life, if it's not black, gotta be white. It can't be 1,000 pages of bullshit.
with hidden stuff too.
So when you get to where we are in a society, people who are poor, people who are rich, can comprehend statements, paragraphs. They can't understand 1,000 pages. So figure out a way to make it where the normal person can understand, is this actually good for me or is this actually bad for me?
Yeah. And like you said too, I mean, a lot of it is what Trump was running on. But the problem is, or the problem for some people, is that when you have all these deductions and tax breaks, someone is not getting the money that they're used to getting. And that's when they get upset about it. The funding gets changed a little bit. But then they
All
make
right,
it
we're going to
about...
go back to Crocker's Tax 101. Eliminate taxes.
Exactly.
Taxes are strictly on what people buy.
Yeah, sales tax.
And it pays the state, federal, all the taxes will be paid because people will have more money to spend. Wives will have more money to buy on Amazon Prime Day, which is coming up.
Oh,
There
no.
you go, Jeff Bezos. I gave you a plug.
Jeez. Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. Ron DeSantis just said this the other day that we do not even need property taxes. We make such a small percentage of all the money Florida actually makes from tourism and other things that we have here alone. We don't need to take the property taxes on Florida.
Yeah, and then like for an example too, when you have someone in office that actually has good intentions and has a good team behind them, like he said with Alcatraz, he said, "Hey, we built that with leftover money from the Biden administration that we didn't even need." So the point is, if you have people that are actually able to budget the money that's coming in, they can use it to build a better state, better county, better city, whatever it is, and you don't need to essentially rape the citizens with taxes.
Well, take LA. LA is a very prominent, rich city. How much money did they have in the culverts to where they should have been able to defend and fight the good place in their city? It was the management of the surroundings where the people who were there have never ran a business. They've never done anything. They were an elected official who could not comprehend the severity of the situation, and they wanted a title. Go back to what you said earlier. If you have a politician who actually cares about where they live and what they're doing, whether I agree or disagree right now, the senator from North Carolina, Tom Tillis, disagreed with the big, beautiful bill, aka the act. He completely thought it would be detrimental to the state of North Carolina. So he could not support it. Then, in lieu of him doing that, President Trump came out and said, well, I will primary you. I will do anything and everything I can to see you not get elected.
Mm-hmm.
So in principle, he retired. So does he believe in this so strongly that it's a bad bill? That's a bad deal for North Carolina. So it goes back to 1,000 pages. You eliminate it and you create the things that matter the most.
Mm-hmm.
Border, military, old people, people who can't work, and you get it simplified. There's no reason to have a 1,000-page bill.
Mm-hmm.
Simplification isn't a bad thing. When I was young, Cliff Notes worked pretty good for me. I didn't need to read that big book.
Exactly.
I don't even know if they still make Cliff Notes. I'm sure. Hey, you know what it is? It's AI.
Yeah, exactly. We don't even need to use Cliff Notes, but I'm sure there's a lot of students that still do. I sure did.
So
It was either that or watch the movie, and the movie is usually pretty accurate. So I can usually pass the test if I watch the movie once.
speaking of movies, have either one of you seen F1?
Not yet. Did you see it?
I went and saw it this past afternoon or weekend, and I don't recommend showing up on the time of the movie because there's 30 minutes of previews.
Yeah, that's a problem with movie theaters. Is like here it starts at 8, but then you get there at 8, and the movie actually doesn't start for another 30 minutes.
Yeah, it was. I don't really remember any of the previews. I just was remembering I was ready for the damn movie to start, and when it started, it was a very intense movie that I liked. I guess it's the director, Jerry Bruckheimer. It had a lot of semblance of Top Gun, Days of Thunder, other movies that he's been a part of, but it was an entertaining movie. I'd give it a B+.
Did you sit there and imagine yourself in the driver's seat of the Corvette, going all around the twists and turns?
Actually, it started out at Daytona where I just raced.
Oh, really?
So it was there at the Rolex 24. So as they were going around the banking and coming in, I knew what they were doing.
You're like, I was there. I did that.
I did that. I didn't do it at that speed, but I did it.
The damn rev limiters on some people's cars.
But no, it's a good movie. It's entertaining, so I would recommend it. Anybody going to see it, it's good.
That's Brad Pitt, right?
Other than him, it was really good.
Okay, yeah.
No, I say that jokingly. I think he's my age, so he kind of made me look bad. I'm like, man, he's in pretty damn good shape. But as I tell everybody, I wake up every morning, whether I drink a Bloody Mary, cold beer, Red Bull, whatever it is I may do that morning, I can promise you that day I am going to live the best day of my life.
Amen.
Because it could be my last. I had to deal with it a couple of days ago about fucking bullshit, but I did it, and it was just part of the day. Guess what? Gone. Here we are today, on July 1st, celebrating America's 248th birthday, and I can't wait to see the fireworks across America, people understanding how free they truly are to live in the greatest country in the world.
That's right.
And I don't understand why, whether illegal, gay, lesbian, hell, murderer, you are not getting killed because you did something stupid. You have a society that gives you the benefit of the doubt to allow you to do what you want to do. If you want to murder somebody, I don't recommend it, but you're probably going to get life in prison, where I believe you should get death immediately upon conviction. You steal from somebody, you should get your hand cut off. And all crime will stop immediately. If you went, you can go in a California store and you can steal $800 worth of stuff. Well, if you go in a store and you steal $1 worth of stuff, you get your hand cut off. If you steal $2 worth of stuff, you get both your hands cut off. Guess what's going to stop?
Stealing.
Win-win. Really? Why is that so hard for anyone to understand?
You better get good with your feet.
Mean? Am I being cruel? Or am I just being real?
Being real.
So, I just am tired. I don't want to watch anybody burn the American flag on July 4th, which I'm sure I will see it on the news where people will be doing that.
And you know who they voted for, too.
What was her name?
And you know who they voted for.
I said, what was her name?
What?
Exactly. If anyone in the state of California is dumb enough to vote for her as governor of the state of California, you get what you deserve. You go to the grocery store right now, you buy a bag of grapes, fucking package of watermelon,
And some Zen.
peas, some cucumbers, put it in a Ziploc bag, and shake the shit out of it, and throw it on your porch, or throw it on the counter, and that's what your governor's going to be.
Probably be
Come
better.
Yeah.
Add some salt, and I know it would be.
At least you'd have something to eat.
It's just, come on. You can't keep repeating history and think it's going to change. The definition of it is sanity.
Your actions have consequences, and I think, unfortunately, a lot of the consequences we see happen today aren't actually harsh enough for people to learn. Clearly, they're not learning.
So what is it, Gonzo, that you think I've talked so many times about teachers teaching young people in school. Is it the parents? Is it the education department? Whose responsibility is it to change the future of society?
Well, I think that
Well,
when it comes to leadership, I mean, obviously parenting at the home, but if these kids are at school for half the day, the responsibility does fall on the teachers and the administration at the same time. And to that point, we should be implementing a way where we're only hiring the best of the best. Like, if you're going to have someone babysit your kid, you're not just going to pick, the random guy that lives down the street that you just met last week. You want to pick someone that you know and trust to take care of your kid. It should be the same when it comes to our educators. We can't just hire someone that wants a job because they need money. We need people that actually care about the youth and care about the things that are being taught in our schools. So ultimately, we can have a better society.
I don't know what show number it was, but if you remember, I said every teacher should have to sign a petition about how much they love the United States of America and how they want to see our country succeed, and they want to help the young people they're teaching be a part of a great country.
Yes.
I don't remember what number, but I remember saying that.
No, I remember it too. Like, basically a contract that says, listen, this is what's going to happen. These are the values we're teaching. Are you on board, essentially?
Yeah. It's real simple. And if you're not getting a job in this school system.
Go to New York.
But even there, with charter schools and with all of the things, parents want their children to be taught. They want their children to be educated. Most parents want their children to be better off than they are today.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that's the case, because that is what's going to be and make America successful in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking about making America successful in the future, ding, ding, ding. Let's get it on. Elon Musk, Donald Trump. The fight is on. Who you taking in this battle?
it's a good question.
I mean, yeah, I'm still trying to figure out if the battle's real or not, but
No.
I did think it was funny. I mean, to the point of that, Donald Trump said that he's looking into deport Elon Musk.
Be careful what you ask for. Elon Musk could create his own AI robotic army.
Skynet.
Whatever he wants to call it, he could subcontract this out to other countries. Elon Musk is a very creative, smart individual. And I don't necessarily agree or disagree with everything he's doing, but he is greater than car manufacturer. Tesla is not just a car manufacturer. They are going to be far and superior on AI than NVIDIA and a couple of these others. Because if you look at where they are right now, I think that they're 300-400 million, where NVIDIA is billion. But Donald Trump can threaten to take Elon Musk contracts away.
Mm-hmm.
When you do that, and he's the only person or only company that can get rockets and do the things he does, I can take two examples. He saved the astronaut. He put Starlink up over North Carolina. No one else has that capability. So when you start poking the bear, I understand that you're the president of the United States. But there's a lot of other countries that have money that'll pay him for what he has to provide to them.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wish they would kiss and make up It's funny that you got billionaire children fighting, but I liked it better when they were on the same side.
Yeah, I agreed with that for sure.
I think it's just a distraction. It's fun for everybody.
Temporary fun.
The thing about it, guys, JB, what you just said, everything is a distraction. Just like the guy, the shell game from The Price is Right. Which shell's it under? You have 3 shells. Unfortunately, we only have one good shell, and that's Trump. The other 2 shells are absolute idiots. And why they don't love this country, why they can't appreciate it, is beyond me. I'm all for. JB, what do you want to get off your ship? It's that time of night.
I'd say Florida property taxes from a federal level. I would say, this was just announced the other day that they indicted 350 people in healthcare for fraudulent stuff. I think that's really great, but we need to start seeing actual arrests. So until we start seeing actual arrests and start filling up alligator, oh my God,
Alcatraz.
Alligator Alcatraz. I don't think anything's going to really happen if we see real accountability and justice. So accountability.
All right, so when you get accountability off your ship's going to have the wind at its back, and it's going to be plowing through the water.
I guess kickoff, not accountability.
Gonzo, what do you got?
I think similar answer, but basically when we were talking about earlier, people not being held accountable or the not having enough consequences. Basically, you're pampered and you grow up in this great nation and take advantage of it. I think the answer would be lack of work, lack of determination, and at the end of the day, the inability to focus on doing the right thing and doing what actually matters, and just to stop worrying about things that don't matter, i.e. what they're showing you on the news. A lot of this stuff really doesn't matter at the end of the day, and you just got to put our head down, keep working, and focus on creating a better life for yourself and your family, and if you can, help others.
Well said. Well said. I would like to get off our ship that JB and Gonzo does so well and works so hard to keep the bow up and the wind at our back. All the people who were blinded by the shiny things that are out there. The shiny things look pretty, but when you go grab them, they fall through your hand.
Yeah.
Because they're meaningless. What truly matters is your family, your friends, and the people who afloat on a daily basis. If you're struggling with anything in your life right now, email the show. Anybody on this crew will do whatever we can to help you. And I really genuinely hope that we could have the opportunity to create a 2025 Ellis Island for the illegal aliens who happen to be in this country, who are doing what they're supposed to be doing, and let's not break up families. Let's figure out a way to make America better tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Make sure you subscribe to the Robb Crocker Show. Hit that notification bell so you stay updated every time we upload a new episode, and more content to come. Until next week, guys, take care. We'll see you later.